Alright, let's get this Metallica tier list underway. I'm just going to go in order here from left to right. And boy, it looks like we're starting off strong with Saint Frickin' Anger. Uh, Not an F, but not good at all. This is the seminal, doesn't sound good, bad production album. It is one of the worst sounding albums I have ever heard. Uh, One of Metallica's worst sounding albums. Yes, not the worst, one of the worst sounding Metallica albums. And kind of a middle finger to all the thrash metal fans that they have. And let's see. Next is And Justice for All. That one is A plus for me. I'm not gonna lie, this one actually used to be my favorite because I'm a progressive metal kind of guy. But after going through their discography, like one after the other, and hearing their first three albums and then And Justice for All, I realized And Justice for All is actually not their best album. It's up there though. I really like it. I think Blackened is a very, very strong album opener, and the album has some really good guitar playing and songwriting. One, of course, is a really, really good song. And Harvester of Sorrow has a great chorus. I like singing along to that one. But I think what keeps this one from being S tier, and of course, everybody's on the same page here, is the production quality. The guitar, even though the guitar work itself is good, the sound of the guitars is very like like high schoolers recording in a garage type sound, or like over compressed, something like that. They just sound very g g g instead of open and uh, you know breathable. And of course, I agree with everything people say about the bass. I'm not going to add anything new to that. I agree wholeheartedly with everything people say about the bass. It is not there. Next up is 72 Seasons, their newest one. That one was okay. I'd put it at a B. Uh, Kind of right in the middle. Um, I think it's like a slightly worse version of Death Magnetic. Uh, the only songs that I really like on here are Lux Eterna and Too Far Gone. Um, Other than that, I don't really have much to say about this one because it's just okay. I think Hetfield's voice is kind of going downhill a bit. Uh, some of his singing is okay, but most of it on the album is not good. I think overall some of the riffs just fall flat, and the drums, of course, are not that good. So not a great outing, but not a bad one either. And then we come to what's next? Garage Incorporated. Ooh, I would put that one at an A minus. I think it's a pretty good set of covers, honestly. I like Merciful Fade, Whiskey in the Jar, Tuesday's Gone, Die Die My Darling. I'm a Misfits fan. I like those a lot. Uh, oh, Am I Evil? That's a good one. And Bread Fan, Stone Cold Crazy. A lot of like proto thrash covers on this one that I really like, and some pretty interesting picks too. But I know some people think the album is a little too long, but I mean, whatever. It's a cover album. You can skip whatever songs you want. I personally think it's a pretty decent collection of songs. And then, let's see, next up is the Black Album. I think it's an A. I think it's an A tier. Pretty decent album. Uh, the only song I don't like on this album is Enter Sandman. I can't handle that song anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's the overplayedness of it, but whenever I hear that song now, I just have to close my ears. And when I listen to this album, I skip it. I really like the second half of the album, like Through the Never of Wolf and Man, The God That Failed. There's some pretty decent thrash metal songs on the second half of this album, I think. But in terms of like their sound change, I I think it's a pretty good outing, honestly. I think like maybe they may have taken it a little too far in the hard rock direction, but at the end of the day, it's a collection of good songs to listen to, other than Enter Sandman. Like Sad But True, I can headbang to that one all night. I love that song. So yeah. And what's next? That is Hardwired to Self Destruct. I'd put it up here with Garage Incorporated. I think this is their best one since the Black Album, in my opinion. The only song I don't really like on here is the titular song Hardwired. I think the lyrics in that one are really corny and the drums are not good at all. But you have songs like Atlas Rise, which has a good vocal performance, good thrash metal riffs. Moth into the Flame is very catchy. Dream No More makes my head bang. I like the hard rock riffs on that one. And Spit Out the Bone is a good album closer. So overall, pretty underrated, I think. Uh, Obviously not their greatest effort, but it's still a pretty good collection of songs, I think. And then we come to Death Magnetic. Ooh, that one I'm B plus. Yes, B plus. I think it's kind of a step down from Hardwired to Self Destruct. I know it came first, but it's uh, a lot of the songs on here are either too long, like Suicide and Redemption, I think is too long. The Day That Never Comes, All Nightmare Long, those are too long. And this album has 3 songs that I cannot stand, and that being Cyanide, I've already died, My Apocalypse, and Suicide and Redemption. I have to skip those songs every time. And no, I don't skip the Unforgiven 3. That one's not an great song. It's just an okay song. I've heard worse, like Cyanide, Suicide and Redemption, and My Apocalypse. But overall, this album was very, very mid. And then we're getting to the good ones. Yay! Nope. Ride the Lightning. I almost said Master of Puppets. Wow. S tier, Ride the Lightning is my favorite Metallica album. It starts off with Fight Fire with Fire, which gets my blood pumping and it makes me want to punch a wall. And then it starts, and then it goes into Ride the Lightning, the song, which is my favorite Metallica song. I really like how that one is written. For Whom the Bell Tolls is catchy as hell. I can listen to that song all day. Fade to Black is a great power ballad. Trapped Under Ice and Escape are another headbangers. Creeping Death and The Call of Cthulhu are great album closers. Call of Cthulhu is, I wouldn't say it's my favorite instrumental from them. I think Orion is better, but man, the way they close the album with those two songs is amazing. Front to back, banger after banger. I love that album. It is my second favorite thrash metal album of all time, behind Rust in Peace. All right, and then we have to talk about Load. Load is it's okay. I'd put it at B tier. Uh, it's there's not a lot of songs on here that stick out. King Nothing is probably the only one, and Mama Said. Uh, Other than that, very odd collection of songs. Like it's very uh, southern rock inspired, I guess I want to say. So that's kind of a weird turn for Metallica. Like people thought when they came out with the Black Album that they took it too far in one direction, but my God, Load and Reload, I don't really know what they were thinking. Uh, what's next? Small Town Girl. This is an S tier failure, which means it's an F tier. Uh, holy shit. Lulu is I'm at F for fail. You're there. Oh my god. Lulu is it's hilarious for one thing, but this is their worst sounding album. uh I think it blows Saint Anger out of the water, honestly. The lyrics on this are borderline insanity. I legitimately think Lou Reed was probably trolling. The Metallica basically takes a backseat to Lou Reed and his avant-garde approach to this album. It's like a weird indie folk approach to heavy metal, and there's just so many weird things about this album, and none of them work. That I cannot believe that they came out with this album and released it as it was. That I mean, and I've sat through this thing 3 fucking times. It's not a good Metallica album. It is not a good Lou Reed album. It is not a good experimental project for any of them. Everybody involved with this should be embarrassed and think of it as a failure because that's what it is. All right. And then we reload. Ah, I'd put it under load. Reload under load. Yeah. 72 Seasons is the best out of the B tier. Reload was kind of a worse offshoot of Load. This one, it takes that southern rock inspiration to a whole new level. They recorded another version of The Unforgiven, which is not good, and it has Fuel, which they pronounce fool. Give me fool, give me fire, give me that which I desire. Oh man. And then like what the songs on here don't really stand out. I mean, there's Prince Charming, and Fixer, the album closer. Yeah. And I mean stand out in a bad way. Because all the other ones are just bland and forgettable, in my opinion. That's my review of this album. Bland and forgettable. And then it looks like we're going to end on two high notes here. Uh, Kill 'Em All. Kill 'Em All, I think, whoop, is the best debut from the Big Four. Let's see. Hit the Lights is a great album opener. That one makes me bang my head. The Four Horsemen has some great guitar and bass work. Motor Breath is a good headbanger, and so is Jump in the Fire. Anesthesia Pulling Teeth, one of the best bass performances ever. Whiplash, another headbanger. Phantom Lord, another headbanger. And then No Remorse, Seek and Destroy, Metal Militia. It that one. This is like their most headbangable album, I think. Like Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, they kind of expand on their song structures a bit, let them breathe a little more. But this album, Kill 'Em All, they go balls to the wall for 50 minutes, and they do not let up. I think Seek and Destroy might be my favorite one. Which, if you haven't heard the version of that where Jason Newsted is on vocals, I would give it a listen. He actually does a pretty damn good job. It was surprising. So, yeah, there you have it. Uh, this one, it blows all the other thrash metal debuts out of the water. It proved that Metallica had something to say and that they were really good songwriters. Metallica's 80s songwriting is top notch. And speaking of top notch, let's talk about the last album on this list, Master of Puppets, right up here in S tier. Whoop! That is my second favorite Metallica album and third favorite thrash metal album of all time, obviously. I'd say Ride the Lightning is like 2% better. They're basically the same album in terms of what I have to critique. Let's be honest. Uh, Master of Puppets. It starts off with Battery, which is, in my opinion, the best album opener that you can ask for. And then it goes into the titular song, Master of Puppets. Very, very memorable riffs from that one. And then the thing that should not be, that's kind of the hard rock one on the album, and I think it slaps. That one makes me bang my head. And then you have Welcome Home, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, three more bangers, one after the other. And then you get their best instrumental song with Orion. I love that song. Really good, memorable guitar riffs on that one, I think. And then you close the album with Damage Incorporated, which is a great, great album closer. My first or second best album closer, in my opinion. But, man, uh, the songwriting on this album is just top notch, especially on Master of Puppets, Disposable Heroes, and if we're talking about the instrumental side of things, Orion, the songwriting on that is just amazing. Uh, I understand why people call this the best thrash metal album of all time. Like it's my third, so obviously it's not my favorite, but I cannot make any arguments against somebody saying that this is the best thrash metal album of all time. So there you have it. Uh, Metallica tier list. So, yep. Have a good.